Good day everyone, I am Alvin Matthew of Ortiz of Group 4 and we will be presenting about our library management system named Cloudery. So let's run to the preview of our program first.
So hello, I am Reynalin Sexionna, and first, we have the login in as interface. This is where users choose how they want to log in, whether as students, librarians, or admins. Once they select their role, they are redirected to the login page. The login page asks for the user's email and passwords and includes a show password feature to help users check their input. So users can go to the register page if they do not have an account. So here, they will be asked to provide their email, password, and other necessary details to create an account. And if the user wants to end their session, they can simply log out, which will return them to the login interface, ensuring security and privacy. So that concludes the overview of the login system. Thank you.
I am Eloisa Papagayo and I'll be running through the student page. On student page, student landing.php, student can log out, explore the library, or view borrow. Clicking Explore Library opens the book list where student can search for book by ID, title, author, category, or availability, which is under the library.php page. The Borrow Book section under Borrow Book.php page works the same way, but only shows books the student has borrowed, and pop-up system will be display alerts for borrowing or returning books.
I'm Trisha Rabano and I will be running through the librarian page. On the librarian page, library landing.php, librarians can log out, manage books, or view book history. Clicking Manage Books under the Manage Book.php page opens the book list where they can add new books by entering the title, author, and category. They can also search books by ID, title, author, category, or availability. The book history section from the Manage Books History.php page tracks all borrowed and returned books, allowing librarians to search by book ID, student ID, or activity, borrowed or returned. The pop-up system will display alert when adding, borrowing, or returning books. And that's it, a simple way to manage the library efficiently.
Hi, I'm Cecilia May E, Navarro, and I will be running through the admin page. On the admin page, admin.landing.php, admins can log out, manage students, librarians, book history, and activity history. The students section under manage students.php page allows the admin to search students by ID, name, year level, program, academic year, or email. The librarian section under Manage Librarians.php page works similarly, showing librarian details and search options. In the Book section, Manage Book History.php page, admins can search for books by ID, title, author, category, and availability, along with the details of who borrowed or added the book. The Activity History section from Manage Activities History.php page, log system actions, allowing searches by user ID, email, activity, or date. The pop-up system provides alerts for important actions. And that's it, a simple and efficient way for admins to manage the library system.
And good day, I am again Ortiz Alvin Matthew and I will explain the structure of our library management system database. We named the database Library MS, and it contains 6 main tables that work together to manage the library's operations. These tables are users, TBL students, TBL books, borrowed books, borrowing returning log, and activities. First, the users table is the foundation of our system. It stores the basic information of all users such as first name, last name, email, password, and their role or category, which could be a student, librarian, or admin. We made sure to apply not null constraints to two important fields, and we also use unique constraints on both the user ID and the email to avoid duplicate accounts. The category field is restricted to 3 fixed values using enum to ensure data consistency. Next is the TBL students, which is related to the users table. This table only contains users who are students or under the category of students. It includes their year level, academic program, and academic year. The year level field is limited using a check constraint to only allow values from 1 to 4. The student ID in this table is also a foreign key connected to the user ID in the users table. We added on delete cascade to make sure that if a user is deleted, the related student data will also be removed automatically. The third table is the TBL books, which holds all the book records. It includes the book title, author, category, availability status, the user who added the book, and the borrower if the book is being borrowed. The availability is set to true by default, meaning the book is available until borrowed. Each book is linked to the librarian who added it through the added by foreign key, and the borrower ID links to a student when the book is borrowed. To track the activity or the borrowing activity, we created the borrowed books table. This table connects students and books using a composite primary key. Here, a composite primary key, which means a student cannot borrow the same book twice at the same time. Also records the borrow date automatically using the current timestamp. Foreign keys link this table to both TBL students and TBL books. We also included a borrowing returning log table to keep a history of all borrowing and returning activities of the book. It logs what book was involved, who borrowed or returned it, the type of activity, either borrowed or returned, and the exact time it happened. This is useful for tracking past transactions and managing overdue or returned books. Lastly, the activities table stores logs of general user actions such as logging in, registering, or updating records, or adding books, deleting books. And each activity is linked to a user and includes a description and timestamp. This helps administrator monitor system usage and user behavior. That's all on my side, and thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Jeremiah and I will be discussing how logging in, registering, and logging out works on our program. So for login, we have a separate PHP file for each role, such as login as admin, login as a librarian, and login as a student. Now each script gets the user email and password from the form, trims them, and then checks if the email exists in the database with the correct role. Now passwords are verified securely using the password verify function. And when the user logs in successfully, their first name, last name, and ID is saved to the session. They are then redirected to their respective landing pages. Now, if the login fails, they return to the home page with an error message. In the librarian login, we also record login activities on the activity table so that the system can track when the user is logged in or lagged out. The registration.php handles the registration, which supports all 3 roles. And when registering as a student, the system inserts user details, the user table, and additional student information like year level and program into a separate table named table students. We use the database transaction to ensure both inserts succeed or fail together. Admins and librarians are only inserted into the user table. Now, password is always hashed before saving to keep data secure. For logout.php, the system logs the user's logout activity that is only applied to students and librarians, then clears and destroys the session. Finally, it redirects back to the home page, ensuring the user is properly logged out. And that's all for me. Thank you for listening.
So good day, sir. My name is Luiz Gabriel Rosales and I'm here to discuss the specific portion of our program regarding book transactions in the cloudary.php. So, The cloudery.php manages the borrowing process by first checking if the borrow button was clicked, confirming the borrow and retrieving the relevant book and student IDs. It uses a PDO method labeled as begin transaction to start a database transaction, ensuring that all related database changes either succeed together or fail without partial updates. Within this transaction, the script updates the table books table or the TBL books table to mark the book as unavailable and assigns the borrower to the student. It then inserts a record in the borrowed books table to track the borrowed book for the student who borrowed the book. To keep an audit trail, it logs the borrowing activity into the activities table and also records the events in the borrowing or returning log or borrowing underscore returning underscore log table if all these operations execute successfully. A PDO commit method finalizes the transaction and saves all changes to the database. However, if any part of it fails, the catch block triggers. A PDO rollback method triggers, which undoes all changes in the transaction, preventing inconsistent data. Finally, the script redirects the user with either a success or an error message. The borrowed books.php script follows a similar process for returning a book. Upon detecting the return book button click, confirming the return, and it begins a transaction using a PDO begin transaction method. It updates the book availability in the table books, it removes the borrowed records from the borrowed books table, and logs the return activity in the activities table, and records it in the borrowing underscore returning log. If everything runs smoothly, it commits the transaction with another PDO commit method, and if there's any errors, it once again rolls back all the changes with a rollback method. Both scripts rely on these transactions controls to ensure data integrity and provide clear feedback to the user about their borrowing or returning actions.
My name is Joshua Layog, and this is the managebook.php. The managebook.php script is responsible for managing the books in the library, including adding, editing, and deleting book records. When a librarian adds a new book, the script checks for complete input, then starts a transaction using $PDO begin transaction function to ensure that both the book addition and the corresponding activity log are saved together. It inserts the new book into the TBL books table and logs the activity and the activities table, then calls the $PDO commit function to confirm the transaction. If any error occurs during the process, the script enters the catch block and uses $PDO rollback function to undo any changes made, preserving data integrity. Similarly, when a book details and logs the update inside a transaction to keep changes consistent, the same logic applies when a book is deleted. The deletion and activity log are warped in the transaction, ensuring both actions succeed or fail as one. On the other hand, the manage book history.php script allows librarians to manage the borrowing and returning history of books. While it doesn't use a transaction block, it includes features to delete specific logs using their ID or clear the entire borrowing underscore returning underscore log table. It performs these actions with simple queries and provides user feedback via session alerts. Overall, managebook.php relies heavily on transaction management, in which begin transaction, commit, and rollback functions to ensure reliability, while managebookhistory.php performs more straightforward options focused on log cleanup. That's all on my part, and on to the next one.
Hello guys, my name is Peñafiel. In this video, I'll present how the management librarian and management student feature works in our system. So both module displays a table of user, which is librarian or students, with their details, and provide buttons to edit or delete each user. Editing opens info feed to update user information, which is saved through prepared SQL update statement, wrapped in transaction to ensure data integrity. So after saving, the system shows a confirmation alert and refreshes the pages. Deleting librarian simply removes the record from both user and table librarian within a transaction. So for students, deletion is a bit more complex. Before removing the record from user and table students, the system first updates any borrower book to mark them as a return settings, availability, and clearing borrower info. So this ensures the database remains consistent and accurate. The front end form and bottom for both sections follow a similar design. maintaining a consistent and intuitive admin experience. So in a summary, while the core code operation are nearly identical, the student deletion process include additional steps to handle variable, reflecting our different roles of user and system.
I am Ermina Joy A, Obsequio, and I will be discussing how the delete and clear history feature work in both the book history and activity history section of our library management system. The book history, each book entry in the table has a delete book button that appears only if the book is currently available. When click and confirms the deletion, it sends a GET request with the book ID, which is then processed by the PHP script using a prepared delete statement to remove the record from the TBL books table. A session alert confirms the deletion and the page reloads. The delete functionality in the activity history works similarly. When the delete activity button is clicked and confirms the deletion pop-up, a GET request sends the activity ID, which is script used to delete the specific activity from the activities table. In addition, activity history includes a working clear history button. This triggers a bulk deletion of all records in the activities table using a direct delete from activities query. Both actions are followed by session alerts and redirections to refresh the page. In summary, both the sections allow deleting individual records through similar logic, while only the activity history sections currently includes a full clear options.